Good morning, everybody. We're going to take a quick look at the exponent homework from the other night. We looked at the laws of exponents and did some problems, and so I wanted you to do some follow-up. So we're going to take a look at the homework. We're going to go through it real quickly. All the answers were in the back of the book, so in case you didn't understand some of them, I want to go through them quickly. So make sure you have your homework out so you can follow along. I am going to try to move quickly just so we can kind of get going on some things. All right, so this first problem, 33a, we see that we're raising a quotient to a power. And when you raise a quotient to a power, you kind of, in essence, distribute that exponent. So a squared raised to the fifth power will be a to the 10th, and this will just be b to the fifth power. The second part, we've got to raise each one of those to the third power, so it'll be now a to the 9th, b to the 6th, over c to the 9th. And now we can combine. I've got a to the 10th times a to the 9th, which is going to give me a to the 19th. I've got b to the 6th on the top over there. And then on the bottom, I've got b to the 5th and c to the 9th. Now at this point, the only thing left that I can do is I can simplify the b's. And so this will end up being a to the 19th. Look, where do I have more b's? I have them up top. So b to the first power all over c to the 9th. And that should be your final answer. Okay, for part B, I've got some negative exponents here, so some things are going to get moved. But I got to deal with that outer exponent first. I can't move before I deal with that. And so this first one is going to become u to the negative 2, v to the fourth power, over u to the 9th, v to the negative 6th power. Okay, now I can do the moving. And so the u to the negative 2 moves to the bottom, and that would become u to the 11th on the bottom when it combine it with u to the 9th. And you have v to the negative 6, which jumps to the top, so that makes v to the 10th up top. And so here's your answer for part A, and here's your answer for part B. Okay, moving on. Number 35. 35, we have 8a to the third times b to the negative 4th all over 2a to the negative 5th times b to the 5th, okay? There's no parentheses or groups that we got to deal with first, so we just get to kind of do this one. Now, notice the 8 is not being raised to the third power, and the 2 is not being raised to the negative 5th power. They have no exponents. So really, I just look at this as going, this is just 8 over 2, which simplify down to 4. And then the a to the negative 5th comes up to the top. It would make this a to the 8th. And that b to the negative 4th goes to the bottom and would make this b to the 9th. So the 8 over 2 simplifies to 4. The a to the negative 5th power comes up to the top, combining, so that makes a to the 8th. And the b to the negative 4th power comes down to the bottom, making the b to the 9th. Okay, second part, part B. This one does have an outer exponent, so we got to distribute that first. So it's going to be, let's see here, that'll be y to the negative third power over 5 to the negative third power times x to the positive 6th power. All right? And so at that point, the y and the 5 will have to move, but the x doesn't anymore. So then the 5 jumps to the top and will be 5 to the third power. The y can jump to the bottom, and it'll be y to the third power. And at this point, you could simplify because 5 to the third power is not too crazy of a large number. It's 125. So it'd be 125 over x to the 6th, y to the third. So there's your final answer. We had 4a to the 8th power over b to the 9th, and 125 over x to the 6th, y to the third. All right, and lastly, number 37. This one, again, we have some negative exponents here, so this should be pretty simple, but they're also in groups. And so I'm going to distribute that exponent, and so this is going to become 3 to the negative 1, a to the negative 1. Make sure both the constant and the variable get that, and then it'll be b to the negative 3 power. Now I can deal with all those negative exponents, because the other thing I could have done is just flipped everything inside, and that would have worked just as well. And then ultimately, that's what I have to do right now. So I'll have b to the third over 3a. That's pretty simple. b to the third over 3a. And this next one is a little bit more complicated, but again, I could either flip everything inside, and that's what I could have done on this first one. I could have just said, well, that is b to the third over 3a, because that negative 1 would just flip everything. But for this one, flipping everything doesn't make sense because I have so many negative exponents. So it would actually make more sense to kind of do what I did here and distribute it, because I'm going to see a lot of those negatives cancel out. So like q to the negative 1 raised to the negative 1 is just going to be 1. R to the negative 1 raised to the negative 1 is just going to be 1. S to the negative 2 raised to the negative 1 is going to be 2. Over R to the negative 5 raised to the negative 1 is going to be 5. this will be s to the -1, and this will be q to the +8. So the only thing that now has a negative exponent is that s on the bottom. So that's going to jump to the top. So I'm going to say, well, I've got q, r, s to the 3rd now, because that one s from the bottom jumped to the top, and I have r to the 5th, q to the 8th. And now I can simplify. I have one r up top and one q up top, but I have more r's and q's on the bottom. So the only thing left up top is that s. I'll have s to the 3rd all over. When I subtract the exponents on the r's, I'll be left with r to the 4th. Subtract the exponents on the q's, and I'll be left with q to the 7th. Sorry, that's out of order. It should be alphabetical. But either way, this is the correct answer. All right, I hope that helps. Hopefully you are feeling a little bit more solid on exponents, and good luck. We're going to take a quiz on them right now. Should be pretty simple and straightforward. All right.